ID number. So if you can verify this, 2020-0014442. Is that correct?
Correct.
Great. And I'll read that again for the judges, and you also have it in your invite. I just want to read it again, 2020-0014442 is the school ID. That out the way.
Thanks, Jean.
You're welcome. One more minute. And those of you who are on screen, my name is Jean Durr, and Laura Shipley and Robin Capetto we're the Fed Challenge team at the Fed. So we've been working with you guys all fall.
Well, nice to at least virtually meet you guys in person.
Nice to meet you too virtually.
Thanks for providing us this opportunity. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Is our other judge here yet? I'm looking at Raj. Just waiting for one more judge. I think she has a class that ends right at 3, doesn't she, Laura? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So she should be with us. I've been emailing with her about something else today, so I know she's around.
Okay. Well, we'll give her a couple more seconds, and then we'll get started. Okay, she should be joining us any second now.
If you want to go over the rules before she gets here, that we could use this minute while we're waiting to do that.
Okay. We've already done a sound check and our school ID. If you're not presenting, please mute your lines. Don't have any school identifiers or say your school name. When you are not speaking, and Jose already went over this as well, when you're not speaking, it's a good idea to keep your mic on mute because the sound is clearer and we are recording today's session for final judging. You may have your slides up that were used during your presentation that you submitted on October 9th. You should not have any updated data within because the economy is essentially locked in when you submitted your video. If you verbally reference updated data, it will not help your team or hurt another team's score that does not do the same. In a few minutes, we will start a timer, and Robin will state 2 minutes when you have 2 minutes left in your Q&A, and then she will also state end verbally. This may interrupt your sentence, but please allow it. If the judges can, I don't know if our other judge has made it here yet, but yes, if the judges can introduce themselves, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Jean. I'm Raji Chakravarti from the New York Fed. I'm part of the research group. I'm a microeconomist and I work in labor, consumer finance, and a little bit health as well. I've been working a lot relating to COVID pandemic recently. Martin?
Hi, everyone. My name is Martin Lavelle. I'm a business economist with the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, but I'm based in Southeast Michigan. I work out of our Detroit office. My primary responsibility is pretty much to contribute information to our Beige Book submission. So meeting with business representatives, analysts from various sectors of the economy. We're actually in the middle of our next Beige Book round for December FOMC right now, so that's keeping me pretty busy right now. But nice to meet you all virtually, and look forward to talking with you here for the next few minutes.
Okay, thank you so much, judges. Can you verify that you do have the 2 common questions all teams will be asked?
Yes.
Thank you. And Jose, can you verify that we are recording?
Recording is confirmed.
Thank you again so much, judges, for your time. If we're ready to get started, we'll start the timer as soon as the first question is asked. Students, judges, are you ready? Okay. When
okay, great. So the first common question is, the FOMC released a new statement on longer run goals and monetary policy strategy in August 2020. That new statement was the product of an 18-month-long review of monetary policy strategy, tools, and communications practices that included Fed Listens events around the country. The new statement makes changes to the language describing both dual mandate objectives. Why does the FOMC now describe its maximum employment goal as a broad-based and inclusive goal and say that its policy decisions must be informed by assessments of the shortfalls of employment from its maximum level? If you would like parts of it repeated, I can definitely do that.
Sure. So I can start on this. So one thing that we've seen is post-1990, the Phillips curve, which was good to pre-90, has shown that inflation has been relatively stable, but below target, which of course affects monetary policy and our goals. So basically, inflation has been more benign. So there's been a shift towards an emphasis on unemployment, which we saw not only in Powell's remarks, but also Governor Brainard's recent remarks. So as far as inflation goes, we want to make sure that we are increasing inflation, but also ensuring stability. We can increase inflation through stable guidance from the Fed. Inflationary expectations are not directly related to the Fed, but they are close. And then also increased economic stimulus, which we believe should come primarily now from the federal government. As far as stability, once we reach that average level, we believe that the new policy of an average inflation target should keep inflation at our target, as well as arrest any type of inflationary expectations which may be drifting downwards at this time.
To build off of that, we just want to make sure that inflation expectations don't get anchored below 2% in the long run. So the new framework for the Federal Reserve allows inflation to overshoot and hopes for inflation to overshoot 2% so as to prevent a deflationary spiral.
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and read the second question then. The FOMC stated that it is committed to using its full range of tools to support the U.S. economy in this challenging time, thereby promoting its maximum employment and price stability goals. With the federal funds rate near zero, please discuss other monetary policy tools that the FOMC could have used or could use to address additional adverse shocks to the economy. If applicable, please discuss the relative costs and benefits of each tool.
I think one tool that the FOMC can definitely use in lieu of lowering the interest rate is asset purchases, which it has been using extensively. It's expanded to beyond just repurchase of treasury bonds to also purchase of corporate debt and mortgage-backed securities. And this has the effect of helping to inject money into the economy and, in fact, stimulating activity.
The Fed is currently buying around $80 billion of treasuries monthly and $40 billion of mortgage-backed securities. And this could be ramped up if need be, although there's some cost to that I think other people could discuss as well.
I think we should also keep in mind, though, that one thing that the Fed is now trying to focus on more than ever is inequality. And one drawback of asset purchases is that it increases wealth inequality. One thing one tool that is unique for the Fed and used for circumstances such as these is preserving credit flow to households. However, Chair Powell has stated that even though this is meant for low-income groups, groups that are in need of this type of credit, because of the nature of that group, it being low income, there are many individuals and households who can't take out a loan. So again, this is where we recommend that what is primarily needed now for the economy is fiscal stimulus.
I think also I previously mentioned mortgage-backed securities. One concern with those is that the price of mortgage-backed securities is inversely related to mortgage rates. So the Federal Reserve's massive purchases of those securities have the effect of, in a sense, artificially lowering the mortgage rate, which has triggered a bit of a housing boom in the midst of the pandemic. However, it should still be considered that the pandemic itself had an exogenous shock effect on the housing market and on mortgage rates to begin with. So whether or not this is justified is up for debate.
Okay, so next question. You have already touched on this a little bit. So basically, can you talk about heterogeneities in effects in labor markets or in other markets by income and by race? Do you think that these are heterogeneities? These heterogeneities, the Fed should take account of these heterogeneities while deciding their policies, and why?
I think it is imperative that the Fed incorporate and acknowledge these disparities when creating its policy. Even just in the recent unemployment response to the COVID shutdown, we've seen Black and African American unemployment significantly above that of other races. So this is clearly an issue. But then the question becomes how to exactly target these different groups within monetary policy, given that it's largely lending based and not necessarily getting money into people's pockets quickly, which is sort of the need we're seeing following the COVID shutdown and the current recession we're in.
Yeah, and to quickly add on to that, not only are we seeing those trends in unemployment, we're also seeing them in underemployment. We're seeing them in business closures as well as many other statistics. So one thing we believe that the Fed can do, other than promote more fiscal stimulus, which is what Chair Powell has been doing, is keep towards the zero lower bound for as long as possible. We know that expansionary monetary policy takes the longest to reach these low-income individuals, but we want to ensure that it reaches those individuals since they have the highest marginal propensity to consume, of course, among other things.
All right, I'll ask you another question. So in your presentation, you had up on one of your slides that reaching full employment may not indicate a complete recovery. Now, you've touched on a little bit of this with the talk about trying to acknowledge what's going on within different racial and income groups. But just in a broader point, what do you consider full employment to be?
Well, certainly, as we've seen with the Phillips curve, flattening of the Phillips curve, and which has led to the recent shift in the Fed's policy. Obviously, maximum employment is higher, or at least unemployment rates are lower than what we previously thought, and that high unemployment, and inflation may not be as closely related as we thought they were. For example, the Great Recession, we saw unemployment rates of 10% with an inflation of around 1%. So it's something that Governor Powell has remarked that we don't need to worry about employment or overemployment causing any type of inflationary, rapid inflationary outcomes. And then Governor Brainerd added on to that, where she talked about, these lower income groups who would particularly benefit from, this type of higher employment.
I also think in regard to achieving full employment in sort of the current circumstances, we're very clearly in unique economic times in the sense that we saw a significant decrease in employment followed by a rather sharp increase again. However, we sort of seen like a much slower growth since that point. And I think what's critical in that, from that sense, is that we don't know how many of the jobs that were lost as a result of the shutdown are coming back. So I think that must inherently change how we view full employment, because we don't know how each of these industries are going to recover in the wake of COVID.
Additionally, I think that the decline in the labor force participation rate since 2000 and the low inflation that we saw pre-COVID indicates that kind of the previous consensus on around full employment, or the natural rate of unemployment being around 4%, was probably an overestimate.
I think also with regards to the definition of full employment, we have to take into account not just say the official unemployment rate, U3, but also those workers who have been discouraged from seeking work, those who are marginally attached, and also those who are currently working part-time but would much prefer to work full-time. Also,
okay, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, it's just come to my attention that Paul, I think he's having some microphone problems. I'm not sure if we can do anything about that. Oh.
Wait.
I could hear that, Paul.
Is it working?
You're soft, but I can hear you.
Before.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's very quiet.
So, yeah, my apologies. I just wanted to add on to the end of that another important thing to take into account is the labor force participation rate, which has been in decline for many years and was finally seeing a little bit of a stagnation before the pandemic. But a few of the reasons that we found in our research that this could be occurring, especially during the pandemic, is a lack of family leave policies, as well as issues pertaining to, in terms of long-term manufacturing, has experienced a lot of productivity increases that have led to a loss of jobs in that sector.
2-minute warning.
You're on mute, Raji.
Sorry. Thanks, Martin. Okay, so another quick question is, as coronavirus tends to increase, continues to increase, and possibly there will be more shutdowns, and if vaccines do not come soon enough, do you have any recommendations, or will your policy recommendations remain the same? Will you double down on one of the aspects of it, or how would you either change, keep it the same compared to what you actually advocated for policy?
I think it's particularly important at this stage, given the uncertainty surrounding when sort of that America is going to be able to emerge from COVID, is that the Fed's role is to project stability, both through the low interest rates that they're currently set at, and also through the forward guidance that the Fed is practicing, and just sort of making it clear what the Fed's policies will be for a significant period of time. Because the reality is, as much as it's difficult for the Fed to be in the driver's seat in this instance, as this is while it is largely an economic issue, it's also a predominantly public health issue, which is not really typical of previous recessions. So I think it's just very pertinent for the Fed to be aware that its role is to kind of lay like an important stable groundwork and allow the economy to work back as it becomes more safe too.
That's time.
Great. Thank you for that answer.
Thank you, judges and students. Again, we want to thank you for your time today. We know you put a lot of hard work into this, and we're glad that you were able to participate. So again, thank you for your participation in this year's virtual College Fed Challenge. I know it was different for everyone. This week, you will receive an invitation to the winner announcement on November 20th at 3 p.m., so please tune in for more information for the results. A press release will also announce the winners that day, and winning video presentation and Q&A session will be uploaded to our public website, the board's public website, after the announcement. And after that, we will also be in touch with you about supplying your school's video Q&A session. Again, we want to thank you so much for participating this year, and thank you for all your hard work. A special thanks to the judges who took the time out of their busy days to help judge these sessions, and thank you to the PIO team, Laura Shipley, who's been charging forward with all this, and we've been part of her team. And we want to thank you. Have a great holiday. Have a great rest of the semester, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.